Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Warren Bennett. We've got Trev mooching around the garden somewhere. He's probably eating a twig or two. And we've got the sun out today, so I thought we'd do another sub swing. So we've got Keith, who sent his swing in to me. So he's a 67-year-old with a 5 index handicap, so amazing. So he's got some back problems, so it's limiting a little bit, and he wants some more wants to keep that pace of his swing up. Any ideas about how to his question was how to introduce a bit more arm swing. I always asked about restrictions, so he said he's 30 days post-op, so he's near enough at full speed, 95% at the moment. So as you can see, he's only sent his swing from one side, because you can see he's probably in a garage there. But overall, Keith, you've got a lovely swing. So as you can see, I'm going to slow-mo a few down now. You've got a little bit of an over-the-top move. So I did send a question to Keith about what operation he had in terms of if it's a knee or a hip and which one. So I haven't got that information with me. So I'm just going to get the other camera set up. I'm going to show you his swing, some thoughts and some ideas about how to improve his game. Okay, so I'm just going to get set up and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, Keith, so I'd say I'd leave everything alone. Your stance looks okay, your follow through looks okay in terms of you really trying to get off this back foot there, your right leg and your right foot, and the amount of knee drive you have there. Your release looks in a good position, but like you said on the text to me, yes, you do have this kind of over the top move, and I would say it comes from casting. Now I haven't got, as you can see, I haven't got the front view, but I can pretty much see, and I think anything with the camera low, it always kind of exaggerates that. So I'm not going to say you have a massive fault of this, because like I say, if the camera's low on the floor and you're filming, it kind of always looks a little bit more than it is. But I can definitely pick up that the fact that from the transition, so when the club's coming down to the ball, there is some casting, and that's making the club outside. So I'm going to say, if you can introduce a little bit more kind of lag here, a little bit more of the club going that way behind you instead of the club going this way, that's going to solve the over the top. Because if I'm in the same backswing position there, Keith, and I go that way with my wrists, and I kind of fish out with my wrists, you can see the path's going to change. Or if I do the opposite with my wrists, if I do a little re-rotation, you can see now the club's going to come from the inside anyway and create that natural lag. So you can see from the 2 points of view there, from the 2 split screens, or from the split screen, you can see if I cast it, the club's going to be outside and there's too much in line there. Or if I just re-rotate it, let the club drop behind me, you can see there's more natural lag here between my left arm and club. Okay, Keith, so as you can see from one of the the stills, halfway down, which is kind of roughly around your hands, a waist height, probably just above, round about chest height, is your right elbow's too high. As you can see there, if you put a line on your right elbow or your forearms, they're kind of pointing down too much. And you want that the opposite. You really want your elbow, if you level or even under, if you can see, so the club's going to fall the other way, as you can see, not falling forward. That's difficult to layer in because you're working through and you're working on transition stuff. Always take the pace off. So I would say what you're looking for is keep the backswing the same, because it looks pretty decent. But now what you're looking for a little bit of re-rotation of the wrist. So you can see there your hand wants to kind of hold and be under. As you can see, my right palm there is now looking up. It's not looking sideways too early. So the transition this is where it's difficult. So do it without a golf ball to start with. So you can make your backswing, and then you're just going to work on this, because whatever my hand does, my elbow is going to follow. You can see if I move my hand and just let it twist that way, you can see my right elbow wants to go the other way. So I don't think it's working on your elbow and pulling your elbow in at all. I think it's a wrist thing. So if you can work on your wrist, just this is exaggerated by the way, but if you can just work on your wrist and your hand, basically your right hand or your left hand, doesn't really matter, I'm feeling it on both really. If you can just get them flat, so you can see where the club head's going now. So I haven't really changed the 90-degree angle between my left arm and club shaft. So you can see there, but halfway down, if I just do that with my wrist and allow my arms to come down a little bit and hands, you can see there, all I've done is do that with my wrists whilst dropping my hands down. So I've still kept the 90-degree angle, but it looks like I've got more lag, doesn't it? Because it's shallow and behind me. And that's what you're looking for, Keith. You're looking for this little lasso move, and it's only fractionally. You don't want this big, you don't want to have to do you don't need a Sergio Garcia move here. It's just a really subtle, kind of just a little drop like that way, and then just let go. Let go meaning when you get this club behind you, now you can get this, now you can start releasing your right hand from there. Instead of releasing your right hand from here, you're dumping, Keith, all this energy too early, bud. You want this energy to be kept. Basically having lag, having angle, but the only way to keep angle is to get these hands dropping that way. Right, okay, enough rabbiting, let's get on with hitting some balls. Now, layer, nice slow motion swing. So I'm going to feel like I'm going to swing this 1 or 2 out of 10 in terms of speed. So back swing, I'm going to drop as much as you can do in terms of getting your hands and club going down the wall. You can turn the club around, because you don't want to do it with the club here, club head side, is make a backswing and then drop. If you can do it against the wall, drop this club down the wall here. Really exaggerate it. And I would say any exaggeration move won't be layered on top of a golf swing. It's impossible to be able to do that too much. So I would say really exaggerate away from hitting a ball. Really feel like this club's going ridiculously down the wall here, because what you're after, Keith, you're after this kind of lasso kind of feeling, this delay, this pressure being put on the club. You don't need any strength or power for that. You're just looking to drop this club in a different position from where you used to. I want you to turn off your flight scope monitor and just work on different speeds. And I want you to layer 1 or 2 out of 10 as slow as you can, so you can feel your hands doing this. You can see there how exaggerated with that. That's not correct. That's too much, obviously. But as soon as you layer speed on that, you won't do it as much as that. But I want you to feel like there's some exaggeration on this loop of this club head. You can hear there, probably I fatted that. Doesn't matter. It's not about result. You've got a perfect little place to do it there. And you're working on different speeds, nice and slow to start with. Really drop it in the slot. Really delay that club from hitting the ball. Because remember, your club can't wait to get out here. So you're trying to do the opposite and keep it back, keep it back, keep it back. Train your hands and train that club to come down before getting out to the ball. There's a down, it's another word for a shallow. There's a down before an out. It's not an out first, Keith, okay? That's obviously reversing what you're doing. So it's always going to be a slightly bit of a challenge to do it for you, and it's always going to feel a bit strange, but after a certain amount of time in terms of repetition, I really believe it could be something that you can become natural at. And remember, you don't have to be Sergio Garcia here. You just want to layer 10% into it. You have to probably feel 50. Layer a little bit quicker on that, and you can see I'm trying to do that drop as much as I did previous, but I can't. The forces of that club want to get thrown out. That's the difficulty of trying to overcome a cast. And just work on the speeds, Keith. Work on the speeds in your garage, buddy. Trying to get this club into this position. It's massively exaggerated, Keith, okay? And I want you to do the same. I want you to get this club feeling like it's so far behind you, it's ridiculous. Okay, so I've still got the 90-degree angle there. It's just in a different shallow position. Still the same position, but all I'm doing is I'm doing that with my wrists. I'm just flattening both wrists out, so the palm of my left hand is pointing down, so the palm of my right hand is pointing up. And then from there, you're allowing the club just to release. Okay, so I'm going to change speeds here. So I'm going to try and put this club in that position. 2 out of 10 will be easier. Probably a little bit quicker than 2 out of 10, but never mind. Actually, let's go back to a 2. I think that was a 4. Let's go to a 2. You can see that it was much more than the 4. I'm going to put that position halfway down, compare the 2 to the 4. This is going to be 6. So it's going to feel a little bit more kind of getting towards a normal shot. You can see it's much harder to do. The slow motion of that, you can see the transition, it's hardly happening. It's so difficult. And that's the good thing actually, because you don't want it too much the other way. You don't want to change the needle too much, too quickly. So nice and slow, work on the speeds. So remember, you don't want casting, Keith, because it gives you too much of a dominant right side. You want your hands just to be re-rotating, flattening out, letting the club drop. I'm allowing my hands to drop with it a little bit. You don't just want to do that, it's not real life really. Bring your hands down a little bit, and there you can see my right elbow's way under. Beautiful. Okay, and let's layer that feeling on top of like an 8 out of 10, which is going to be my normal pace. See, it's impossible to do that, and you only want to do it slightly. Okay, Kieth, so thanks very much for sending that in, and I really hope that's something you can take on board. Remember to be patient. Layering anything new on top of a golf swing that you're kind of used to doing, it's always going to be a little bit tricky, but just stay with it. Put it on a little tee if you like as well, if you've got a little tee, just to give you kind of a little bit of a feeling of some contact. But remember, it's not really a result based, especially in a net. So don't get too kind of caught up in terms of numbers. So remember, Kieth, any sort of kind of drills and exercises, it's a time and a place. That's not a time to look at how far the ball's going, where it's going. Turn all that stuff off so there isn't really a result for you, so you can really focus on maybe doing it a little bit more exaggerated. And then when it comes to kind of letting go and seeing how far the ball goes, or if there's any improvement in that way, that's the time to kind of glue it all together with some good rhythm. Don't overfeel this. Allow your, there's a big gust of wind, allow your practice to kind of seep into your normal golf game. And that's the key to consistency. It's not just kind of blowing it out the water straight away first swing. It's about consistency, continuity of your practice over a period of time. I would say you can improve this by, I don't know, let's just throw a number out there, 50%, 30%, something like that. And then after that, you're building the consistency. You're doing it in slow increments. Any practice you do, you're layering some more foundation into your golf swing. You've got a great golf swing, and especially someone who's just come out of the back of an operation too. So I wish you well, and I wish you good health. So if anyone would like to have their swing analysed by me, please send in via Facebook or Instagram Academy page, and I'll be more than glad to give you a swing analysis. So from myself and Trev here, on a very blustery now what's turned out day here in the UK, wishing you well, wishing you good health on and off the golf course, and we'll see you on the next video. Cheerio. Good boy.